Well, I watched it.
It's bad.
You saw it?
How bad is
You
it?
saw it?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Was It Good? My name is Bob, and tonight I got to watch Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver.
Better you than me.
I don't know about that, but Part 2 was a movie I was actually somewhat interested in because I was hoping that it would be better than Part 1. Now, let me just go ahead and say that I somewhat enjoyed Part 1, even though I acknowledge that it's a bad movie, but I still kind of liked it. So I was hoping that Part 2 would actually justify why I liked that, and I don't think it accomplished that. Now, before I get into the review, let me let you know that there might be some minor spoilers, but I am going to try to keep those at a bare minimum. But if you don't want to know anything about it, then go ahead and go check out the movie first and then come back and watch this video. Now, if you have seen the movie, why don't you let me know what you thought about it? Go ahead and leave your comments in the comment section below and share your thoughts with me. If you disagree with me, that's fine. All I ask is that when you leave a comment, let's not be disagreeable. Don't forget to hit that like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get to the review. The plot, for what actually little there is, can only be described in one way.
Crap, mega crap.
Let me just give a basic synopsis of Part 2. Part 2 picks up after the events of Part 1, where Kora and her team help to prepare the people of Veldt to fight and defend their home against the Motherworld led by Admiral Noble. That's the basic plot in a nutshell for this movie. And I don't think that the plot is necessarily bad because the pieces aren't there. There's actually some interesting pieces throughout this film. The problem is more in the execution of it. The first hour I found extremely slow, as we spent part of the time with the villagers harvesting grain, and for some reason that was done in slow motion in certain parts. Then we see some training sequences that really last only a couple of days, yet are supposed to prepare this village for an attack from the Motherworld. And then we find out a little bit of information about our characters, and because of the way it's done, it actually checked me out of the story. And then when we actually, since I got checked out of the story, the last hour is devoted to the main battle, and I had trouble checking myself back into the story. So there were some problems there, and then there were some problems with the script.
It's in that dumpster.
Just the way that some of the dialogue is written, it was pretty bad, and I had trouble connecting with some of the characters because of that. Overall, again, I think that the pieces were there for this to be a good movie, but the execution wasn't there, and because of that, it wasn't a very good plot. I thought the acting was rough for the most part. The line delivery seemed off at certain points, and I didn't think some of the actors had great chemistry together, and because of that, there weren't any standout performances. Now, Sofia Boutella as Kora, I think she did the best job that she could. Some of her action sequences looked decent, but I think she was bogged down by the script, as were several of the other actors. Jimon Hunsu as Titus, I think he is a great actor in almost anything that I've seen him in, except this. And his performance fell flat, and I think, again, that had a lot to do with the script. Ed Skrein as Atticus Noble, I don't think that he was very good in this. He seemed to be giving it his all, but again, the performance fell flat, and everybody else was just kind of a who's who. I didn't really even remember any of the characters' names, and again, that's because nobody stood out. The acting was below average to mid at best. I think the look of the film was actually decent for the most part, especially when you get to the last hour with the action sequences, and I think those looked pretty good. Now, Zack Snyder, as a director, he's known for getting some pretty good visuals, and I think during the action sequences, he was actually able to do that. Now, during the first hour, however, there was some needless slow motion, and I did think that some of the shots looked like that they were out of focus. So, although he's good at getting visuals, and I think for the last hour, it was actually pretty good, and the look of this film is probably one of the better aspects of it, this is not Zack Snyder's best work. I wasn't very entertained by this movie. In fact, I found myself consistently checking my phone to see what time it was, and then I would check to see how much time was left in the movie, and then when I'd look and see that there was 40 minutes left, I'd be like, oh my God, still another 40 minutes to go. So I was just checked out by that last hour because, again, the first half was just so slow, and I just could not get back into it. Now, was it good? I didn't think this was a very good movie. In fact, I was very disappointed in it. Zack Snyder's a director who appeals to a very specific audience, and I tend to count myself among them, but this was not one of those films that I enjoyed. Now, I do hope that Part 1 and 2 director's cuts will actually be better and redeem this series as a whole. Now, if you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for sticking around this long. Don't forget to hit that like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next review.